Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am your enthusiastic IT guide for today, and we are going to tackle a subject that affects, well, pretty much every single hybrid worker out there. We're looking at that really critical and honestly sometimes tricky tug-of-war between your personal privacy and the essential safety features built right into Microsoft Teams. Because, in this era of hybrid work, our devices are constantly trying to figure out where we are. But who actually controls all that data? Today, we are going to demystify exactly how Teams location tracking works and, more importantly, how you can take the steering wheel. So, here is our game plan for today. We'll start with the Teams privacy landscape, then move into revoking OS location permissions and comparing managed devices across Windows and Mac OS. After that, we'll look at the multi-tenant guest dilemma, the actual cost of opting out, and finally, validating emergency calling safety. Let's jump right in. Section 1, the Teams privacy landscape. Okay, so recently, you've probably noticed Teams practically begging for permission to access your Wi-Fi signals. This is to power new features like smart work location tracking. It's that feature that automatically updates your status so your colleagues know if you're working from your couch or sitting at a specific desk at the office. But, and this is important, Microsoft explicitly states that employees remain in control by design. Right? This system is built to help us collaborate, not to act as a corporate surveillance tool. There is no secret backdoor command for your boss to just ping your location, and Teams doesn't store some historical timeline of your movements. You ultimately hold the keys here, and you can manually override your status whenever you want. To really wrap our heads around this, we need to break down the tech just a bit. When we say Teams tracks your location, it is absolutely not using a GPS satellite in space to pinpoint you like your phone's map app does. Not at all. Instead, it relies on your organization's local Wi-Fi infrastructure. It looks specifically for the BSSID. You can think of the BSSID as a unique digital fingerprint, or MAC address, of the exact Wi-Fi router mounted on the ceiling right above your desk. By matching that specific signal to a corporate building map, Teams knows exactly which floor or even which corner of the building you're currently working from.
Section 2, revoking OS location permissions.
All right, putting on my over-the-shoulder IT guide hat here. Let's look at how to actually take back your personal privacy. First step, check your app level settings. Just open up your Teams settings, click on that privacy tab, and then select location. From there, you can see your current app level consent. Simple enough, right? But here's the catch. To truly stop location sharing in its tracks, you have to go way deeper than just the app itself. You literally have to pull the plug at the foundation, which means going into your operating system. To do the ultimate override and revoke that location API permission at the Windows 11 level, you need to leave Teams entirely. Open up your main Windows settings, navigate over to Privacy and Security, click on Location, and then scroll down that massive list of apps until you find Microsoft Teams. Once you're there, firmly flip that toggle switch to Off. Boom, you have just told Windows to completely cut off Teams' access to your device's location sensors.
Section 3, managed devices, Windows versus Mac OS.
Now, what if you don't actually own the laptop you're typing on? Well, on a fully managed corporate Windows device, your IT admins can use Mobile Device Management, or MDM for short, to force your app-level location settings to on, completely bypassing whatever initial consent you gave. If that happens, that OS-level kill switch we just talked about, that's your only escape hatch. But if you're on a Mac, it's a completely different story. Apple is famous for its walled garden, right? macOS has this incredibly rigid privacy model that actively blocks corporate administrators from ever overriding your personal location services toggle. So on a Mac, the final say always stays with you.
Section 4, the multi-tenant guest dilemma.
Okay, so we've covered your home organization, but modern work means we're constantly collaborating with external partners, vendors, clients, which brings up a really good question. What happens to your privacy boundaries when you leave your own digital house and jump into a client's environment as a guest? Does your location tracking consent just carry over with you? The answer to that is a hard no. And honestly, this is a massive privacy safeguard. Guest location consent has to be managed individually per tenant. So if you switch from your home org's Teams over to a client's environment where you are a guest, Teams is going to display a brand new mandatory location privacy notice just for that session. You have to independently grant or deny consent for every single digital house you visit. Your privacy choices do not just blindly follow you across the internet, which is pretty reassuring.
Section 5, the cost of opting out.
All right, I need to put my serious IT advisory hat on for a minute. You have the absolute right to revoke those OS location permissions. That is your call. But
Doing so has real-world consequences. If you hit that kill switch, smart work location tracking instantly dies because teams can't read those Wi-Fi BSSID signals anymore. Secondly, and your IT support staff will feel this one, the call quality dashboard loses all its accurate network data. It makes it incredibly difficult for them to troubleshoot dropped calls or bad audio. But the absolute most critical consequence of opting out is that you completely break automatic location detection for dynamic emergency calling.
Section 6, Validating Emergency Calling Safety. So dynamic emergency calling uses your Wi-Fi to ensure that an emergency call goes straight to the correct local dispatcher, and it tells them your exact floor and building. It's a lifesaver. If you turn off tracking, you lose that automatic safety net entirely. However, there is a manual workaround. If your administrator allows it, you can and absolutely should go into the Teams Calls app and manually type in your physical emergency address. Now, it does mean you have to remember to update it every single time you move to a new location, but it bridges that gap between maintaining your privacy and ensuring your physical safety. Okay, so how do you actually know if your manual workaround or even your automated tracking is working correctly? Well, I want you to anchor this exact number in your brain right now, 933. If you're a user in the US or Canada and you have a Microsoft calling plan or Operator Connect, 933 is your dedicated emergency testing number.
When you dial 933 in Teams, don't worry, you aren't going to accidentally connect to a live 911 dispatcher. Instead, it routes you to an automated test bot. And this bot is great. It echoes back to you the exact same information that a real emergency dispatcher would see on their screen. It reads out your caller phone number, your currently detected emergency address, and confirms exactly how your call would be routed. It is literally the ultimate IT validation to ensure your safety setup is doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Which brings us to the end of today's explainer, and I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative thought to chew on. We've seen exactly how to lock down your privacy, but we've also seen the very real, very crucial utility of these features. So ask yourself, are the benefits of seamless IT troubleshooting and automatic life-saving emergency routing worth the trade-off of allowing corporate Wi-Fi tracking? There's absolutely no right or wrong answer here. There is only the informed choice that you, the user, now have the power to make. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep taking charge of your tech.